John Michaels had always believed in the sanctity of family. For him, it was the bedrock of life, a truth that held his world together. His wife, Emily, and their 2 children, Sarah and Michael Jr., were the lights of his life. He worked tirelessly to provide for them, often taking extra shifts as an doctor, enduring the grueling hours and stress because he believed his sacrifices were for a greater good. Emily, a schoolteacher, and John had met in college and had quickly fallen in love, their shared dreams and values binding them together. Or so John had always thought. One ordinary Thursday evening, John's world was upended. Emily had been uncharacteristically quiet for days, her usual warmth replaced by a distant, distracted demeanor. John, though concerned, had chalked it up to the pressures of her job. That night, as they sat at the dinner table, Emily finally broke the silence. She confessed, her voice trembling, that neither Sarah nor Michael Jr. were biologically his. John felt as if the ground had been pulled from beneath him. The words echoed in his mind, each one a hammer blow to the foundation of his life. At first, John couldn't process what he was hearing. The idea that Sarah, with her bright blue eyes and infectious laughter, and Michael Jr., with his boundless curiosity and love for science, were not his children was incomprehensible. He stared at Emily, his mind a whirlwind of emotions, betrayal, confusion, anger, and an overwhelming sadness. He had been a devoted father, attending every recital, every soccer game, every parent-teacher meeting. How could this be possible? Emily explained, tears streaming down her face, that she had had an affair early in their marriage. She had fallen for another man during a rough patch in their relationship. By the time she discovered she was pregnant, the affair was over, but the consequences remained. She had chosen not to tell John, fearing it would destroy their marriage and believing that he was a better father than the biological one could ever be. She had hoped the secret would remain buried forever, but the weight of it had become unbearable. John felt a profound sense of betrayal. The woman he had trusted implicitly had deceived him for years. Every moment he had cherished with his children now felt tainted. He looked at Emily, his mind racing. The woman he loved had become a stranger, her actions rendering their entire relationship a lie. Yet, amidst the anger, there was also a deep-seated love for the children he had raised, the children he still considered his own. The days that followed were a blur of turmoil. John struggled to maintain a semblance of normalcy for the sake of Sarah and Michael Jr. He went to work, performed his duties with mechanical precision, and returned home to a house filled with memories now clouded by doubt. Emily's presence was a constant reminder of her betrayal, and yet he couldn't bring himself to hate her completely. The love they had shared, the life they had built, was not something he could easily discard. John's internal battle was fierce. On one hand, he felt an overwhelming urge to leave, to escape the pain and betrayal. On the other, he couldn't imagine a life without Sarah and Michael Jr. They were his children in every way that mattered, and the thought of losing them was unbearable. He sought solace in the quiet moments, sitting in the children's rooms while they slept, watching their peaceful faces and wondering how something so innocent could come from such a lie. Counseling seemed like a logical step. John and Emily attended sessions together, trying to navigate the choppy waters of their relationship. The therapist encouraged them to communicate openly, to explore their feelings and find a path forward. John found the sessions both painful and cathartic. Each revelation brought a mix of relief and heartache. Emily's regret was palpable, her desire to mend their marriage sincere. But John couldn't shake the feeling of being trapped in a nightmare. In his private sessions, John delved deeper into his emotions. He talked about his childhood, his values, and his dreams. The therapist helped him understand that his sense of betrayal was not just about Emily's infidelity but also about the shattering of his ideal family image. John had always prided himself on being a good husband and father, and now he questioned everything. He felt like a failure, not just to himself but to his children as well. As the weeks turned into months, the strain took its toll on John's health. He lost weight, his sleep was plagued by nightmares, and he found it increasingly difficult to focus at work. His colleagues noticed the change, offering their support, but John felt isolated, trapped in a world where he couldn't share his deepest pain. He was a man torn between love and betrayal, trying to reconcile the two in a way that seemed impossible. Emily, too, was suffering. She had hoped that her confession would bring them closer, but instead, it had driven a wedge between them. She missed the man John used to be, the laughter they shared, and the intimacy they once had. She threw herself into her work, trying to find a distraction from the overwhelming guilt. But every time she looked at John, she saw the hurt in his eyes, a constant reminder of her own mistakes. Sarah and Michael Jr., unaware of the storm brewing around them, continued with their lives. They noticed the tension between their parents but attributed it to the stresses of adult life. Sarah focused on her art, winning accolades at school, while Michael Jr. excelled in science, dreaming of becoming an astronaut. Their accomplishments, once a source of pride for John, now brought a bittersweet pain, a reminder of the love he had poured into them. One evening, as John sat alone in his study, he came across an old photo album. He flipped through the pages, seeing the moments captured in time: Sarah's first steps, Michael Jr.'s first day of school, family vacations filled with laughter and joy. These were the moments that defined his life, moments that no revelation could take away. He realized that his love for the children was not conditional on biology, it was built on years of shared experiences and unconditional support. But love alone was not enough to heal the wounds. John needed to find a way to move forward, to rebuild his life without the constant reminder of betrayal. He spent countless nights reflecting on his options. Divorce seemed like the only viable solution, yet the thought of breaking up the family tore at his heart. He considered staying for the children's sake, but he knew that living a lie would eventually destroy him. The final decision came on a quiet Sunday afternoon. John took a walk through the park where he used to play with the children. He watched families laughing and playing, the simple joys of life playing out before him. He realized that he couldn't continue living in a state of constant turmoil. For his own sanity and for the well-being of his children, he needed to take a step back and create a new path for himself. When John told Emily of his decision to separate, the conversation was filled with tears and raw emotion. Emily begged for another chance, promising to do whatever it took to save their marriage. But John knew that the damage was too deep. He needed to find himself again, to heal from the betrayal, and to build a new life on his own terms. They agreed to remain amicable for the children's sake, to co-parent with love and respect. But their marriage was over. Breaking the news to Sarah and Michael Jr. was the hardest part. John sat them down, explaining in simple terms that he and their mother would be living separately but that they both loved them deeply. The children were devastated, their tears breaking John's heart all over again. He held them close, reassuring them that no matter what, he would always be there for them. The bond they shared was unbreakable, a truth that gave him the strength to move forward. In the months that followed, John focused on rebuilding his life. He moved into a small apartment nearby, ensuring he remained close to the children. He threw himself into his work, finding solace in the routine and the knowledge that he was helping others. Therapy continued to be a lifeline, guiding him through the labyrinth of his emotions and helping him come to terms with the past. John and Emily's relationship evolved into one of mutual respect and cooperation. They worked together to ensure that Sarah and Michael Jr. felt loved and supported. Family dinners, holidays, and school events were navigated with a newfound sense of purpose. The children's happiness was paramount. Over time, the anger and hurt began to fade, replaced by a sense of acceptance and a determination to build a positive future. The children adapted to the new normal, their resilience and strength a constant source of inspiration for John. Sarah channeled her emotions into her art, creating pieces that spoke of love, loss, and healing. Michael Jr. continued to pursue his passion for science, his dreams undeterred by the changes in his family life. Their achievements brought John immense pride, a reminder that his role as their father was as vital as ever. John's journey was far from over, but he had found a sense of peace. He realized that life was a series of unpredictable events, each one shaping the person he was becoming. The betrayal he had experienced had tested him in ways he never imagined, but it had also taught him about resilience, forgiveness, and the enduring power of love. He was not defined by the mistakes of the past, but by the strength he found to overcome them. Years later, as John watched Sarah graduate from high school and Michael Jr. receive a scholarship to a prestigious university, he felt a profound sense of accomplishment. He had weathered the storm, emerging stronger and more self-aware. The scars of betrayal would always be a part of him, but they no longer dictated his life. He had rebuilt his world, one filled with love, hope, and the unbreakable bond between a father and his children. John and Emily found a new rhythm in their lives, co-parenting with grace and understanding. They attended events together, shared in their children's milestones, and maintained a friendship that, while not the same as their marriage, was built on mutual respect and the shared goal of raising their children well. Their story was one of healing and growth, a testament to the power of love and forgiveness. Looking back, John saw the journey as a series of lessons. He had learned to value himself, to understand the depth of his own resilience, and to appreciate the complexities of human relationships. The betrayal had been a catalyst for change, pushing him to reevaluate his life and find a path that was true to his own values. He had emerged from the darkness with a clearer sense of purpose and a renewed appreciation for the simple joys of life. John's story was a reminder that even in the face of profound betrayal, it was possible to find a way forward. The love he had for his children, the support of friends and therapists, and his own inner strength had guided him through the darkest times. He had rebuilt his life, not in spite of the betrayal, but because of it. It had shaped him, tested him, and ultimately made him stronger. As John stood on the beach one summer evening, watching the sunset with Sarah and Michael Jr. by his side, he felt a sense of contentment. The journey had been arduous, filled with pain and uncertainty, but it had also brought moments of profound beauty and joy. The love he had for his children was unwavering, a constant light in his life. He had found his way through the storm, and now, standing on the other side, he knew that he was exactly where he was meant to be. Life, John realized, was not about the destination but the journey. Each twist and turn, each challenge and triumph, was a part of the tapestry that made up his existence. He had learned to embrace the uncertainty, to find strength in vulnerability, and to cherish the moments of joy. The betrayal had been a part of his story, but it did not define him. He was a father, a healer, and a man who had found his way back to himself. In the end, John found peace in the realization that love was not defined by blood but by the connections we build and the lives we touch. Sarah and Michael Jr. were his children in every way that mattered, and his love for them was unshakable. He had faced his greatest fears, navigated the darkest waters, and emerged with a heart full of love and a spirit that was unbreakable. His journey was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of love.